Welcome back to another Sunday prep day video. If you're new here, every Sunday I prep for the week, so that means cutting all my vegetables and also making things that take a little bit longer. So today I'm going to make a roasted salsa, so I'm preheating my Ninja Foodi on grill, the highest it will go. And I have some cherry tomatoes here in a little silicone basket. Here I have some shallots that I peeled, so those can go in. Then I'm going to take some garlic, turn it on its side, and cut it that way, basically across the equator. So this way, after it's roasted, you can just easily squeeze out all the insides. But now to keep it together, I'm going to wrap it in some foil. So that can go in that basket as well. I have a whole bell pepper. I'm going to put that on top because I want to blacken the skin, so that needs to get most of the heat. And the same goes for some jalapeno peppers. I have like 8 of them. I'll just scatter those around. So that is ready to go almost, because I do need to add a little bit of oil. And my Ninja Foodi is just about to beep. There we go. Finished preheating, so now this can go in. And this will probably take about 20 to 30 minutes. I'm going to start with 10 minutes, and then I'll flip things around so all the sides of the peppers and the chilies will get a chance to blacken the skin, so they're a lot easier to peel. Oh, and another thing I'm going to be making today is some soup, but I'll do that after I finish cutting all my vegetables and stuff. So, well, yeah, we'll start with chopping, and we'll go over the menu. So I always start with the onions. I have one red and one yellow one. So I'm just going to slice those up. So the menu, meal plan for today for lunch are some sandwiches. I have some bagel flakes, which is like similar to pastrami. And I usually have sandwiches on Sunday because during the week, to cut out some carbs, I don't have carbs for lunch usually. So on the weekend I have my cheat days because I do like sandwiches a lot. And I won't be mentioning breakfast because I'm just not really a breakfast person. So I don't usually have that. Then for lunch on Sunday, for dinner on Sunday I mean, I'm gonna have a surkoolstampot. Surkool means sauerkraut. Sur means sour. Kool means cabbage. So sour cabbage, sauerkraut. And for that I'll need some sauerkraut, some potatoes, because the stampot means potatoes mashed with something. And I'll put some bacon lardons in that, and I have some chicken drumsticks. So, and then for Monday, meatless Mondays for lunch, I'm gonna have that soup. I'm just gonna get a bigger container because I'm gonna combine all my soup ingredients in one container. Another thing that needs to go in my soup are a couple of whole cloves of garlic, so that can go right in. I have 2 more cloves of garlic that I'll quickly chop up. So that was lunch was soup, and then for dinner on Meatless Monday, I'm gonna do some noodles with like some snow peas, and I have some meat replacement like fake beef. I'll use that with like a teriyaki stir-fry sauce. So I'll do that with like the snow peas, like I said, and some carrots. So that's all my garlic. I don't really need that much garlic. Then for Tuesday, for lunch, I'm gonna do some chicken with some broccoli. And I think I'm going to do a chicken breast that I'm going to stuff with cheese if I can be bothered. But yeah, just a chicken breast, and I'll just grill that in my Ninja Foodi. So Here I have some green onions, spring onions. They are looking a bit old, so I'm removing like the outer layer. Cut off the tops. And I'm mostly just using these as a garnish, so I'll just give those a quick chop. So Tuesday for dinner I do Taco Tuesdays, and for dinner I'm gonna do some Korean barbecue, not Korean, Korean beef tacos. So one of the things I need is some spring onion for garnish. But yeah, that's just with ground beef, soy sauce, some kimchi, etc. So there we go. I can go in there. Oh, you know what? I'll add one more of these small peppers to my grilling vegetables. There's still plenty of time to put that in. So then I have some jalapenos. I'm quickly gonna take the seeds out. And I'll use these in different things like my my tacos as well. So as I take the insides out, we'll continue with the meal plan. So for Wednesday for lunch, I'm gonna do some keto chicken nuggets, probably with some green beans, but I can still change that around. I have green beans, I have broccoli, I have broccolini, or broccoli rabe, however you call that where you're from. We call it bimi in the Netherlands. So green beans, snow peas, broccoli, broccolini. So I can still change that out because I'm prepping the components, not the full meals. So I can decide on the day which I'm more in the mood for. But yeah, keto chicken nuggets, that's with chicken, obviously. Just some tenders I'm going to cut in half. And some almond meal and some spices. Maybe I'll do harissa spices, that's my go-to lately. Or I can just use something else that tickles my fancy. And then for dinner, I'm gonna do like a bibimbap, or like a rice bowl with some gochujang chicken. And again, either the bimi or broccoli, the green beans, the snow peas, whatever I feel like. And then we're on Thursday. I'm just quickly gonna peel these potatoes. For lunch, I'm gonna do some chicken with some sugar snaps, again, or some other vegetable. We'll just see. And then for dinner, I'm gonna do some chicken tacos. So that's one of the things I need my salsa for, my roasted salsa. And the roasted salsa should keep about a week in the fridge. So whatever I don't use this week, I'll just use next week. And if I do use everything up, I'll just make some other kind of salsa next week. And then we're on Friday. Oh, by the way, the reason why I'm doing chicken tacos on Thursday is because I'll have some tortillas left over from my Korean tacos. So I need to use those up. That's one of the things I like about meal planning. It's just like the puzzle where, because I'm just cooking for myself, I don't want to waste too much. So I need to be creative with what I use when, and just plan around what I'll have left over from a certain meal to use in a different meal. So, but yeah. Friday for lunch, I'm gonna have some fish. I'll just grill that in my Ninja Foodi. I'm gonna do some basso or some pollock. I have both in the freezer. And then for dinner, I'll do some probably some fish and chips. But I have some breaded fish that I can use. But I also have it's like a thing you put in the oven. It's like a big square of like white fish with like some sauce and stuff on top. I can do either of those options, but that'll be with some potato wedges and whichever of my vegetables that I mentioned that I will have left over. So I just cut up these potatoes. These are gonna go in my Stompbots tonight. So I need to cut them in chunks. The wedges I'm not gonna cut just yet because that's all the way for Friday. So that's the only thing I'm not prepping. So for my soup, I need some celery. I'm not gonna blend up my soup. It's gonna be a vegetable soup, so I'm gonna get reasonably fine. So I'll just do 2 stalks, and that can go in with the onion and the garlic. Then I have some carrots, just cut off the tip. This part is going to go in my soup, and I'm not going to bother peeling it. So I'll cut it in half, and again to make quarters because this is quite a big carrot, and I'll just slice that up. Oh, and that's my 10 minutes done. So I'm just going to flip around the peppers and the chilies because they're starting to blacken a little bit, but they're not quite there yet. And I'll give that another 10 minutes and I'll check again. Like I said, it'll take 20 to 30 minutes usually. I'll quickly finish off this carrot. And that can go in with the rest of my soup ingredients. And I'll cut another piece. This I'll save for another time. This I'll cut in half because, like I said, for my snow peas, I want that with some carrots. I'm going to cut some thin slices. Then next up for my soup, I want some parsley. So I'll just give that a rough chop first. And unlike last time, where I fished it out, I'm just actually going to leave that in for my vegetable soup. So I'm going to cut it up. I'll cut a little finer than that. It doesn't need to be too fine, but a little fine. And that can go in a container. It's going to go in the soup, but I'm not putting it in with the rest of the soup ingredients because I want to soften that first and add that later when I add the water. And then for my salsa, I want some cilantro. It's going to get blended up, so it doesn't need to be too fine, but I want to chop that a little bit either way, just because sometimes when you leave it whole, it's going to sit on top of the blender and it won't go down. So by giving that a quick chop, it's guaranteed to blend up well. And then for 1 or 2 meals, I'm going to do some broccoli. So I'm just going to cut the florets off. I'm going to save the stems because I like doing things like broccoli rice with that. And then the bigger florets, I'm just going to cut into bite-sized pieces. So that is broccoli. And then I have a whole bunch of green beans, 2 portions worth. And I'm just going to top and till the whole lot. And that's all the chopping done, and we're at 17 minutes. So I'm just going to put away the things I won't need anymore, and then wait for the vegetables to have finished blackening so I can make my salsa. And as you can see, the skin has blackened, so that will be easy to peel. I'm just going to let this cool off now because it's way too hot to handle and peel everything. So it's going to cool off. In the meantime, I switched my Ninja Foodi over to saute. That's preheated now, so I'm just going to add a little bit of oil. And that's one of the reasons why I use the silicone basket, so the pan is still clean, so I can use it immediately after for my soup. Also, all the juices that come out of the tomatoes and the peppers are now in the little silicone basket, so I can just use that in my salsa as well because that has a lot of flavor in it. But yeah, that's preheated, so I'm going to add my soup ingredients. So that's onion, garlic, pepper, not pepper, add a little bit of chili, some carrot, and some celery. So I'm just gonna put that in and let that soften. And to help soften it, I'm also gonna add a little bit of salt that will draw some of the moisture out. So I'll just give that a few minutes. And while I wait for that, I did put my cilantro in here already, mostly to distinguish it from my parsley that I'll use later. Because it already looks similar when it's chopped up. It looks very similar. So to this, I'll add the juice of 1 lime. Some salt. And it is still way too hot to peel the peppers, but what I can do is take out like the tomatoes and scoop those in. And that also removes some of the mass, so it helps things cool down a bit quicker. And another thing I can put in is these shallots. And another thing we can do is just carefully unwrap our garlic. And as you can see, all those cloves come out really easy now because we cut it in half before we roasted it. And in the meantime, the vegetables have softened, so I'm going to add some water. I'll stir in my parsley, and then I'll put on my pressure lid, make sure the valve is closed. And as I say every time, you can totally just let this simmer, but I have a pressure cooker, so that goes a little quicker. And this is some soup with some fine ingredients, so I'm gonna give that 15 minutes. And while that does its thing, I'm just quickly gonna peel the peppers. I'm gonna take the stem out, and since the skin has blackened, it should come off really easily, just like that. You probably want to let it cool down a little bit more, but I'm being impatient. And you want to make sure that you take the seeds out, or at least most of the seeds, but yeah, that can go in like that, and I'm going to do the same thing for the other pepper and for the jalapenos. So again, just open it up, take the seeds out, and take the skin off. And the reason you want to take the skin off is because that can be a little bit bitter. So if there's like a little bit left, that's not a problem, but you just want to get most of it off. There we go. So that can go in, and then all the juices from the tomatoes and everything, just put that in there as well. And then put the lid on, and I'm just going to blend this nice and smooth. And I'll just give that a quick taste, see if it needs any more salt or anything like that. No, that's perfect the way it is, nice and spicy. So I'm just gonna take out the blades, and I'll pour it in a container that will fit easier in my fridge. And like I said, this should last about a week in the fridge. So I'm just gonna finish transferring this, and then I'll let it cool down, put a lid on, and cool it down, put it in the fridge. And that's the soup done as well. As you can see, it's still piping hot, so I'm just gonna let that cool down so it can go in the fridge. And that's just ready for tomorrow. I just need to heat that through. So that's all the prep work done for this week. I can now have lunch or dinner on the table in minutes. If you like this kind of content, I do this every single Sunday. And if you'd like to see what I ultimately do with this, you can check out my Instagram where I post every single meal that I eat. Or you can check out the video that I post about once a month on here where I give you a whole week of everything I eat in a day. But yeah, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Until next time, bye for now.